Bergval should have been sent off. He should have been sent off. And you have to look back at even more Tottenham controversy in previous seasons with the Luis Diaz goal not standing, which I think caused a whole domino effect of us probably not winning that league title that year. And then now it's kind of reared his ugly head again. There's positives to take away from this, believe it or not. And there's some negatives and some things that we need to work on as a team, obviously. But let's be honest here. The first challenge was not a yellow. It could have been if you're going after intent, if you're going after lateness in the challenge. Sure, I've seen those types of challenges get given yellows just from based off of intent. Like, oh, if the player was there, that would have been a dangerous challenge. Obviously, it was not studs up, but he was late. You can't deny that. He was late into that first challenge, right? The second challenge, I think everybody understands and knows that is a yellow typically. And I think that's potentially the ref going back and saying, I shouldn't have gave the yellow the first time, so I'm not going to give the yellow this time. And you cannot do that. You have to deal with each incident as isolated events when you're a referee, because exactly what happened can happen, right? You don't send a player off that should have gotten a second yellow card when one of them may have been soft, and then he goes on and scores a goal 2 minutes later. There has to be consistency in the game. There has to be. And you can't take the game as a whole like that, because incidents like that end up unfolding and happening too often. And then now we're looking back and now we're saying, Liverpool were robbed. Bergval should have been sent off. He shouldn't even have been able to score that goal. Liverpool probably should have went on to win that game. Very weird game to watch. Not very exciting in the first one, with how exciting that first match was, and pretty much the game of the season, and one probably an all-time game to come and pretty much go into a 0-0 kind of situation. It probably deserved a 0-0, but I think Spurs fans will probably think they got the result that they earned with the 1-0 victory, because they were better than they typically have been, but it doesn't mean that they deserved as the win today, which I don't think so, but I can see the perspective of where you can, right? The second half was a little bit better, but both sides looked sloppy. Both sides didn't look fluid. They weren't up for it. It was a very weird watch. But Liverpool fans, you guys we have a lot of things that we can take from this, and a lot of things that we can look forward to and be proud of versus being down on ourselves, because it's going to be really easy to say that, especially after the Man United draw, which is having shades of last season, right? When Man United was taking points off of us and knocking us out of competitions, which started the slide. But it's different this time, and I'll talk about that in a second. So before we jump into the video and dive into what next after this result, make sure you guys subscribe. We're almost at 4,000 subscribers. Thank you, everybody that has decided to subscribe this month. It's been a huge month in terms of subscribers. If you're new here, make sure you comment down below where you are watching from. This thing is going all over the world. Like I say every single time, it still amazes me and shocks me by how many people have accepted me. So I appreciate all of you guys, and become a member, right? Become a member of the channel, support the channel. There's going to be discounts on merch that we're going to be launching next month. And then you'll also be able to get access to come on as a guest co-host onto the podcast that we do every Tuesday. So special shout out to Moonlight Graham, Nigel, and Red Chili for being members of the family for sure, but members of the channel. You guys are amazing, and you guys have some of the best takes. If you see them down there, make sure you guys give them a like, show them some love. But anyway, let's talk about the game, the takeaways. This is the first time I think this Liverpool side all season has looked tired. And there was a lot of creativity that was really lacking in the side. And I think this is probably one of the first times all season. And there's only only thing that has changed throughout this whole thing. Obviously, with our back line being really thin right now. No Dominik Szoboszlai. Not only was this side lacking creativity and out of ideas, this was the first time that I've seen really this side get frustrated the way that it got frustrated. And you could see things weren't really going our way the way that we really wanted them to, and the way that they typically have been going over the last 24 games. Misplaced passes everywhere. Final third just wasn't looking very fluid. On top of the lack of creativity, I think this was the first time that I've seen this Liverpool side out of ideas. Usually we go to the Mo Salah bank and we cash out, right? We weren't able to do that today because this is probably one of his worst games that he's had all season. And it's the first one I think that he's had all season. And I think that's something to take stock in a little bit as well. Like if you had one bad game all season, I think that's okay. I don't think it's time to say, Salah is washed or I don't think it's the first time to say a lot of things. And we'll talk about that in a second. But there's no need to panic right now. But Salah had a quiet game, right? And I would have really liked to see Chiesa and Harvey get a shot in there and give Mo Salah some rest. I know we have the Accrington Stanley side game that's coming up next. So I'm sure that we'll see both of them in that match. But I would love to have seen them come in. This was a poor match for Mo Salah. And when Mo Salah isn't firing, it's obvious that this Liverpool side doesn't fire, right? And I think that's an issue. I think that's a problem. I think that's something that needs to be addressed. I will say Jota did have a really good cameo for the time that he was on the field. I think he only played for about 50, 60 minutes. He looked good. You can obviously tell he's still coming back, trying to get more fitness in. But you feel that this Liverpool side is missing a game winner, right? A player that you can kind of produce magic from absolutely nothing from. And I talk about this all the time. And I know Mo Salah, he can be that type of player for us and has been pretty much all season. But when Mo isn't there, who do we go back to and we say, all right, Mo isn't firing, give it to him. I don't think we have a player like that on the team at this moment, right? Mo had Firmino. Firmino had Mane. They all had each other. And then when those three weren't firing for a short period of time, we had Coutinho, right? Who could bang something in from long distance. So I'm just wondering, does Liverpool go shopping for an attacker actually this January? Because I think that is an area that maybe we could improve on. But then again, statistically, we have one of the best attacks in the league. Could this just been a one-off game? But you have to think this type of game is crying out for somebody that can go take the game by the scruff of the neck and just produce something from nothing, right? To be fair, a lot of the players, not just the Liverpool players, the Spurs players as well, we're all kind of off it today. I mean, even Son had a bad game as well. But who do we go to next? I know Man City, they have Haaland, they have Foden, and then they have De Bruyne. All three of them typically don't have bad games on the same match. It's one of those things where, are we over-reliant on Mo to kind of get us what we need? But let's talk about the goal, right? Bergval, the goal it was obviously, there's going to be a ton of controversy around that goal, right? It's a clinical finish from Bergval, and who I shouted out on the podcast yesterday, who I thought was a huge, huge talent that I don't know how Tottenham got their hands on him. He's going to be special for sure. But he was probably the best player on the pitch today, I'll be very honest. But honestly here, he probably shouldn't have been on the pitch, right? He probably shouldn't have been on the pitch. Only 18 years old, has a huge future ahead of him. But the kid got away with one today. I mean, Solanke, he set up the goal beautifully. He, bullied Konate off the ball, set Bergval up, but Bergval still had stuff to do. Alisson isn't an easy keeper to beat, and just banged that thing home in the bottom right-hand corner. But a lot of talking points. What do you guys think? Should Bergval still been on the pitch? What do you guys think? Comment down below. Was it a correct decision? Was it an incorrect decision? But I think we have some other things that we need to talk about and address in the Liverpool team as a whole. Because I know there's a lot of things that we can be like, this shouldn't have been a goal anyway. But let's be honest, we weren't very good today, and we haven't been good. I'm going to be honest, probably in the last 3 or 4 games. Alisson is leaking goals. That's something that we're not talking about. The back line looks kind of all over the place, and VVD looks like a dad trying to pull together a bunch of, kids running around, and it just doesn't feel fluid and tight and connected like it did when like a month ago. So some of those things are a little bit worrying for sure. But to be able to get out of this whole thing with only one loss in the past 24 matches, I don't think I can complain too much. Nunez was actually quite good today. Trent actually looked pretty good today, especially coming back from such a rough game, a ton of criticism. His creativity was definitely something that was missed in this game. And I'm thinking like, man, should he actually be moved? Like, no, seriously, like, should he be moved into midfield? Because he played that inverted role really well and gave us the creativity that we needed in the final third. It was just that we could not put that ball in the back of the net. Nunez had a huge chance with it was like behind him, actually a really creative finish. And he looked good today, but is looking good enough? I don't know. Maybe I'm being picky on this thing. I don't know who would even be my man of the match if I had to pick one for Liverpool, but the overall man of the match would be Lucas Bergval, obviously. But then there's controversy around that. It's just such a weird match. Let me know who your guys' man of the match was. I'm not sure who really to pick in this thing. No one was outstandingly great, but the lack of creativity in the middle of the pitch was alarming. And we talk about Sabo a lot, and he gets a lot of criticism and things like that. But let's be very clear with Sabo. He does really well to create chances regardless. He creates a lot of opportunities and chances and links up play really well from back to front. Curtis Jones does not do that. Curtis Jones is really great ball retention, but that's pretty much it beyond that. And I know he has that stat where he has the most accurate passer, but that's the thing. The reason why he's the most accurate passer is because he takes no risk in trying to connect play from back to front. It's always a backwards pass. It's always a sideways pass with Curtis. Then he disappears. He's our ghost man. He created 0 chances all game. And I feel like a broken record when I come back to Curtis over and over and over. I think there needs to be some sort of change or some sort of refresh in that attacking midfield role. I like Harvey Elliott there. I don't know if he has the physicality and the stamina to do the job there because it's a different type of attacking midfield role, just like the 6 is a different type of role under Slot with Ryan Gravenberch, who I think needs a rest. So there's a lot of things that we could definitely talk about, but here are the facts so we don't get carried away. This is a 2-leg tie. We still got another tie, which is going to be at Anfield in a month's time, right? We'll see what comes of that in the next month. I don't know where Liverpool is going to be, right? You know, it's easy to be confident and say a lot of the different things like, oh, the league will be wrapped up. We'll be able to, field a strong side. We don't know. Liverpool could be top of the league or they could be sitting 4th. We don't know what could happen. This time last season is when things started to unravel. So it's going to be on Arne Slot to make sure that he keeps the team together and keeps the team tight. We still have only lost 2 games all season. So we can't expect to be perfect, right? It's only been 2 games, if you can even believe that. 1 game in the league and then 1 game in the cup. That's actually kind of insane. Oh, in the Milan game, right? So 3. This is not time to start doubting, like literally at all. If you're a Liverpool fan, you should be proud of this team. You should be proud of Arne Slot. You should be proud of your boys and what they've been able to do. Let's bring some positivity into the new year for sure. There's a lot of negativity and stuff like that we could definitely key in on, but I want to give you guys some confidence and some hope in these things. I don't think it's time for you to ring the alarm bell. There's obviously going to be changes, but statistically we have one of the best attacks in the league. Statistically, we still have one of the best defenses in the league. And then we've only lost 2-3 games all season in all competitions and was on a 24-game unbeaten run. That obviously comes to an end here, but we have another opportunity and a chance to make up for this match on top of the one that we lost against Nottingham Forest because we get to see them again in about a week as well. So what's next? Without a doubt, Liverpool need to reinforce. That's a fact. We got to reinforce. Now with Gerald Kwanzaa out, I don't know how serious it is. Slot says that he was just sick. So maybe he was just pushing himself, trying to get, some play time in the squad. That's totally normal. It looked like he was holding his leg, though. But we'll see what comes of that. Gomez is obviously going to be out for a prolonged period of time. Konate is still trying to get fitness going. You could see he actually was wearing a knee brace today. But Liverpool need to sign a center back like yesterday. I talked about it on the stream. Gerald Hato is my pick. I think he's a fantastic talent, 18 years old, willing to probably be a 5th or 6th string center back as he develops, but has all of the potential and the talent to take over from VVD. He is my pick. If we make one signing this entire January, I think it should be a center back in Gerald Hato because he checks multiple boxes at once. He can play center back, he can play left back, and then I think he has the skills to play as a defensive midfielder as well. Big shout out, by the way, to Endo. He was actually really great today. He's my man of the match. Forget it. He's my man of the match. Endo was great today to come in a position he typically doesn't play a whole ton. I know he played it a little bit when he was in Germany. And to be honestly better on the ball than Gerald Kwanzaa was and bring a little bit more stability to that back line. Hats off to Wataru Endo. And maybe he gets a run in the center back position. He probably will. I don't see FSG actually spending any money this January, unfortunately. With the reports that have come out from Paul Joyce and the likes and things like that, we probably won't sign anyone, and they'll probably shoehorn Endo in there if Gerald Kwanzaa is out for a prolonged period of time while Konate is trying to get fitness back. But next we go to Accrington Stanley. This will be a good run out for the young players. I hope to see Chiesa. I hope to see Rio Namuha. I hope to see Harvey Elliott, for goodness sakes. Where is Harvey Elliott? And Jaden Dans, where is that man as well? So it'll be good for them to get some game time in and hopefully get this first team a little bit more rest before we come into this crucial time in the Champions League and in the league where we just need to be, we got to be perfect. We just do. I just have a feeling we got to be perfect. But hold your heads up high, Reds. You guys have a lot to be proud of over the last year. It's halftime. It's halftime, baby. It's halftime in the league. It's halftime in the cup. Don't panic now. We still got another half of football to play, boys. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys all for subscribing and watching the video. Have a good one. Peace.